it's Gilbert here. This video is going to be on changing the rear brake pads on a 2005 Mazda MPV. Tools you'll need some rags, you'll need jack stands. I used some penetrant on the bolts to make sure they would loosen. The rear takes 14 mil. You'll need some sort of a C-clamp or other clamp to push the piston back in, and probably need some grease and new brake pads. So what I did is started off, first thing, you want to use some penetrant on the bolts right here, right here, right here, right here. And so this and that is where the threads are. And on the rears, this is actually a bolt that screws into this, and same here. You don't need to worry about this piece. It's got a I think it's 17 mil open end would fit it, but you don't actually, I didn't have to worry about that. I was able to break these loose pretty easily, and oops. Well, I say pretty easily. I was able to break so that bolt. So remember what I said, you don't have to worry about those? Apparently you do. So let me grab a 17-inch open end to hold that. Alright, well, that was fun. So it may be a 17 mil. I may or may not have said inches earlier. It's not 17 inches, 17 mil. But my 17-inch mil open end would not fit between there. And so anyway, thankfully I have a little 6-inch crescent adjustable wrench, whatever you want to call them, that does fit. And I was able to put it there and break that loose. Wow. So pull your bolts out. The bolts. I won't waste. Alright. So these are the two bolts that come out. They are the same. Once you get those out, and by the way, the parking brake is not part of the regular brake system, so you don't have to worry about it. Pull caliper out. This piece is your caliper. Watch your brake hose. Don't mess it up. What I find is I just spin it and set it here. There is back here, there's a little, it looks like a hose that comes through. That is actually attaches to your analog brake sensor, I believe it is, and don't mangle that. So, next step, get your brake shoes, and they will just pop out. I find a flathead can help. Just kind of pop it out here. And as you can see, wow, this has got 110,000 miles on it. These are the original pads, and they're, honestly, they don't really need replacing. If I didn't already have new ones, I wouldn't bother. You can see there the difference. These are, wow, maybe half worn. Oh well. Back ones, same. You just pop them out, and not much to it. Okay, so you'll know on the Mazdas they got the clips here. You'll take your new brakes. Don't mangle your clips when you put them in. Don't mangle them. They'll just slide right in. The back one here, these come with a sound noisemaker. This is hopefully what is squeaking when your brakes need replaced. That's what tells you your brakes need replaced. If you slide it inside, push in and then slide them in, I find that works best on the back. Alright, so now while I have this off, this loose, I want to pull these bolts out. They have suction, but they will pull out like so. On the rears, you keep them straight. The one with the black piece and the ridges is the bottom bolt, and that's the same on both sides. They are different on the rear. So what I'm going to do is wipe this grease off and put new grease on it. That's while you got them out, while you're doing it, you might as well freshen up that grease. So I'm going to wipe this off. Got my grease. Take some grease, put on the end and along the bolt there. It's a pin actually, but all right. Now I'm going to slide it in. This one was the top. And yeah, they're kind of messy and they're not going to stay in. It'll stay in some. Oh, this one stayed in. The bottom one, oh, I should have wiped it off first before I got my hands all fresh grease on them. Oh dear. That wasn't supposed to happen. It's not going to hurt anything, but I'm not sure if it was supposed to have grease under it or not. I don't think it matters. But again, fresh grease. You kind of got to use some judgment on how much to put on here. You don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to underdo it. All right, I'm hoping this shows up on the camera. Yeah. So slide this one in the bottom. Now this one will want to pop out more because of those ridges. But it's not a big deal. So now comes the caliper piece. And you'll notice caliper sticking out here. It is a single caliper, unlike the front, which is a double. And what we got to do is, without messing up the brake line, we got to squeeze this back in. You can't just do it by hand. What I tend to do is I get a brake pad, an old brake pad, set it there. Use a clamp, a C-clamp, or whatever type of clamp works for you. There's more than one type of work. So this one's a woodworking one, and it works fine. So now I'm hoping you can see that. So with making sure I'm not pinching the rubber piece, because that helps seal, I am squeezing this in. And wow, this one is not wanting to go in. I may have to get a C-clamp there. It's going a little bit. It's got to force this. This is the right rear corner. It has the farthest for the fluid to travel, so it's also the hardest one usually to squeeze because you're pushing the fluid farthest. Cover my grease, make sure that stays clean. All right, so now piston's back in. So now I make sure that, yep, it fits. I will push these pins in, and then slide the caliper in place. Take your bolts, again, it did not matter which is which. 14 mil bolts and start tightening those. These are just 14, so you don't want to over tighten them. I don't know the torque specs offhand. You'll want to look it up for yours, but you'll want to get them pretty tight, but don't over tighten. Again, look up the torque specs and torque yours to what it should be. Now this is wanting to spin, so I am going to have to use, it's funny because on the other side I did not have to use an open end at all. So yeah, your mileage apparently will vary. Mine certainly did. And you'll, like I said, yeah, this is going to turn. So anyway, once I tighten these, I will go ahead and take care of that off camera, and I'll show you the next steps. Alright, so here is your brake reservoir, brake master cylinder reservoir, and you can see that it's way over max. You can see it down in there, and I had this loose but not off because I wanted any air to be able to easily escape. I think it would anyway, but I loosened it up just in case. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have to pull some of the brake fluid out because you don't want to have it over max. Use like a syringe or like a turkey baster or something to pull out, suck out some of that brake fluid. Do not get that brake fluid on your paint. It will eat your paint. So now I am in the van, and what I'm going to do is press down on the brake pedal, and it's going to go all the way to the floor. And I'll let up, nice and slow. Do it again. Now I'm feeling pedal. Do it again. Alright, so now I got pedal. And the reason you got to do this is because you have squeezed those pistons all the way in. Now you've got them, now you've just pushed them back out, and so they're where they should be. Alright, so other than removing some fluid and putting the wheels, of course, back on and that type of thing, I am done. Now, theoretically, you've gotten no air in your system doing this. If your brake pedal is too spongy or you got air in it, here is your bleeder valve. Pull if yours still has the cover on it like mine does, right there. I'd hit it with some penetrant before you try to take that out because it's probably going to be really tight and you don't want to strip it. The way you bleed them is you'll have the vehicle running, have someone in the vehicle. You will loosen this slightly, like maybe a quarter turn. They will push down on the brake pedal. With the brake pedal still down, you will then tighten this. And you repeat until there's no air in the system, and you do all your wheels that may have air in them. Obviously you'll want something to catch your brake fluid. But that's how you bleed them. This is not about bleeding, so I won't get into any more detail. If you got any questions, whatever, feel free to ask. If I don't know, hopefully someone else that sees the video will and can help answer. If you found it helpful, please subscribe, like, comment, and good luck on yours.